What's going on, people? Welcome back to 30 Mins Arsenal with myself and my guy, Harry. We have
What's
much
up?
to discuss, but
What's
please
up?
smash a like on the video,
Yes.
subscribe if you're new people. We are going to dive into the Southampton game, but I think we've got too much to discuss just beforehand, Harry. West
Mm.
Ham 2-2. Me and you were here last week thinking it's going to be an easy ride. 3 points in the bag for the
It
Arsenal, and
was.
we carry on.
It was an easy ride for the first kind of 30 minutes. And then, there it came. There it came. That goal. And yes, we cannot deny it. There was a certain level of bottlement, if there's such an English word, it was I saw you were fuming straight after the game, and so was I. It took me a good 48 hours to cool myself down, really. It's been a while, hasn't it? How that kind of shit has happened. But yeah, now I'm a lot more positive. I'm looking forward to the Southampton game. But yes, we got to cut it out. But essentially, can I dive straight into it? Premise?
Dive straight into it. Dive straight
Okay,
into it.
okay,
Be
okay,
waiting
okay.
for
So,
your thoughts all week.
oh mate, so everybody's laying into Thomas Partey, and I can totally understand that. Yes, that flick was unneeded, but he's been flicking around all over the place the whole of his career, And what essentially kind of led to that error, it's not just Partey, but it's a general movement of the team. The connection between Partey and Zinchenko and the connection between Partey and Tierney is totally different. People have to understand Tierney and Zinchenko, two different players. Their forte, their strong points are in completely different elements and positions of the game. And yeah, I'm not sure if many people noticed how Tierney's kind of a body movement, his positioning, his passing, wasn't quite up to it in that game. But to be honest, he hasn't been starting for quite a long time. Yeah, and I thought we missed Saliba and Tomiyasu, but that's my kind of entrance into the analysis of the game. Really, what about yourself?
Do you know what? I do agree with what you're saying, but at the same
Mm.
time, because we expect so much from Thomas Partey, we don't
Yep.
expect him to kind of have a cock up like that. Because for me, when Jorginho did step on the field, you seen us kind of get a bit more of a hold of midfield,
Yep.
and it's very unlikely when Thomas Partey's there, especially with the midfield three that we have in Xhaka and Odegaard this season, that we get overrun. And for the first 10 minutes, unbelievable, just what we needed. Two
Yep.
goals up, and then I feel like we got too complacent. I feel like after the Liverpool game, yeah, for me, I'm looking at all the positives, looking at it as it's Anfield. United got pumped there, City got beat there. We walk away with a point, good point gained, take it to the end of the season, and we could just be talking about that point. Oh, we didn't get that point at Anfield because we could have easily got battered in that game, and that's my true, honest opinion. But
Mm.
this West Ham game, totally different. You get me? These are the same West Ham that got battered 5-0, 5-1 against Newcastle 2 weeks earlier at home. They're a different outfit. Historically,
Mm.
we got a top record against West Ham. And normally we're scoring 3 goals plus against them. So when we got the first 2 goals, I'm sitting there thinking, nice, happy
Yep.
days. This is going to be an absolute annihilation job. But then, like I said, complacency looks like it's set in, and it looks like the boys don't know whether to go on and finish these man off or take it easy, knock the
Yep.
ball around and try to see out a win. Now, in my opinion, we have to be ruthless. We have
Oh,
to
there we
go
go.
out and
That's
step
the word.
on teams' necks. Look at Man City. They're out here. They're
Mm.
ruthless. Look, today against Bayern Munich, they had a total different performance today. They were very resolute, solid defensively, hit
Mm.
them on the counter, got that goal through Haaland. And even though they missed the penalty, they
Yep.
didn't let that get to them. They didn't let that get to their heads or anything. And that's the level of, I suppose we haven't got that experience level in the squad just yet, going through title runnings year in, year out. But at the same time, against West Ham is unforgivable. I think
It
Gabriel
is. It is.
Jesus,
Mm.
Gabriel Jesus, he was one of the only people on that pitch I could say was giving his 110%. Players
Mm.
like Martin Odegaard, he's been outstanding this season for us, but he's our captain. I expect him, Harry, to be grabbing players, shaking them up, saying, look, this is not the time to fold her. You get me? This is the time to go on, push on, kill this team off, go in at halftime 3-0 or whatnot. It's crazy. But just I wanted to ask you, the timing of the goal from West Ham, very similar to Liverpool.
Yep.
How do you reckon we could have avoided that? Obviously, we know it's a penalty or whatnot, but it looks like we're giving chances away too easy, far too easy now.
You said it yourself, man. It's all about being ruthless, you know. It's all about going in for the kill. And as you said, you look at City, their level of experience, professionalism, it wouldn't have happened to City. I mean, City played Leicester literally like about 24 hours beforehand, right? And they went 3-0 up, totally cruised after the game. It's these little minute details that really cost us the game, especially mentality-wise too. Going to your point about Odegaard and Gabriel Jesus, yes, I do understand. You saw how Jesus kept on coming back, and you saw how Odegaard kept on coming back, you know. And we needed to be able to react to those minute details. And it's just that, you know, you remember good old Dini talking about cojones, but, you know, it does come back to that certain point, you know. We looked jaded. We looked a lot more kind of dodgy at 2-0 up than we were, like, you know, when we were equalized 2-2. But it's just, I totally get your point. It was as if we were just walking on clouds when we were up 2-0, and we just needed that leadership. We just needed that, you know, guy to kind of like give us a good spanking up the bottom, you know, even at 2-0 up, which we couldn't provide. And as for your question about timing, mate, you know, if it happened in a Liverpool game, we needed to know how to react. We knew that they were going to come out in the second half, and we knew that if there was going to be some sort of a problem, like as it happened with the penalty miss, we needed to react, but we couldn't react after the penalty miss, and that's a big difference between us and Manchester City, in my view.
No, definitely. And you know what was the most disappointing part of that for me is that they equalised at a time where we still had 25, 30 minutes to go on and try to get the victory again.
And we
And
provided nothing after that.
nothing.
That was the most depressing
Absolutely
part.
nothing. And this is what it is. It's like, obviously, I've been sitting here and I've been trying to back Rob Holding, and I'm not putting it all down to Rob Holding or blaming Rob Holding for the defeat. But I think William Saliba being out the team is a massive miss. He gives us that composure that we need at the back. And there is talks that William Saliba is getting himself ready to run the risks and try to see what he can do.
Out. Oh my god, it sounds nasty.
Bro, get everything out from him. I'm telling you now for a fact. You get me? Get him on everything. You get me? I'm telling you, we need him in the team because he gives that level of composure to Gabriel as well. When we're seeing Gabriel playing the football, you start without Saliba, you're seeing him make a few mistakes. You're seeing him being a little bit more shakier. And to be fair, Gabriel's been solid this season. Normally at the start, we've seen 1-2 little mistakes from him. Then he was absolutely pristine for me. Without Saliba, he doesn't look the same centre back. And I think that understanding that they've now developed, it gives them both confidence when they're stepping on the pitch out there together as well. And I think with Rob Holding coming in, he hasn't done too much wrong, but he's just not at the same caliber as Saliba. And also that then plays an impact on Thomas Partey's role, because with Thomas Partey, he could be a little bit more free roaming and go a little bit forward in attacks and join the attack to a certain stance because he knows William Saliba's behind him. He'll mop it up. Somebody psychologically, you know that the guy behind me could do a job. When you've got somebody in there that's hardly had any game time, especially in the Premier League, and you're already 50-50 on, it makes you think, I'm going to have to come back. I'm going to have to recover. I'm going to have to maybe sit a little bit deeper. But very disappointing for me. We've literally, for me, I know I'm not gonna try to sound negative because I've been very positive this season, but realistically, it's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good. You get me? You got to think we've got a horrendous
the pressure is on.
City,
the pressure is on big time, and we invited the pressure onto ourselves. But you know, of course, as Arsene Wenger said, I think we're still in the driving seat if we win all of our games. And, you know, it's all we knew it was going to be that game against City that's going to decide this title. And mate, if we get a draw, or even if we get a win, it's totally possible. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, I agree. I think in football, we don't know what's going to happen, but at the same time, you have to look at it realistically. And the way
Yep.
City are playing right now, our record away at Manchester City, even at home to Manchester City over the best part of 10, 11, 12 years, is not looking healthy. And
Mm.
can these boys now pull up the courage, have that belief to go to a team like City on full throttle and think, you know what, we can do something? Because I don't think it's going to be a 0-0, no way. And if in order for us to walk away with at least a point from that game, we're going to have to match them for goals. Now, I'm not scared that we can't score goals. I think we can score goals. But it's the moment we start to falter is when teams start to get at us now. When teams are starting to get at us, that's when we're looking like we don't really know what to do. We're starting to make mistakes, can't put two passes together, not have anything going forward, really creating opportunities, even on the counter attack again against West Ham. I didn't see us offering nothing going forward. And this is going to lead on nicely to what I wanted to speak about next, and that's Saka, Harry. Because for me, Saka, for the last 2 games, 3 games,
Yep.
he hasn't been at it.
No.
At what point do you put him on the bench and say, look, I'll try a Trossard, a Jesus, and a Martinelli? If we need to bring Saka on 60, 70 minutes, bring him on. Why shouldn't that happen? Because when you're going for a title and you want to be a world-class team, the whole team has to participate. Do you reckon Arteta's just got his favourites and this is the inexperience in his management career that he's not doing this? Or do you reckon it's just Saka's been outstanding this season? We just throw him on, even if he's in a bit of bad form, to get him through that form and hopefully he can do something.
Listen, with Saka in the West Ham game, I expected him to come off first, right?
100%.
It's not because he missed the penalty. It was just his general, cutting edge that he hasn't had for the last game or so. I do understand Arteta's point that he wanted to give Saka a chance to redeem his penalty miss. However, it's not just the Saka factor. All the subs, the timings, it was just so kind of so discombobulated and so kind of like, it weird in a sense, taking Martin Odegaard off it is just, it's like, saying, surrendering midfield possession. But going back to your point about Saka, the Southampton game, we should play him because I'm pretty sure he's going to give us a solid reaction. But no result up until the 65th minute. Get it changed. Get it changed. And it could be Trossard. It could even be Nelson. The introduction of Smith Rowe seems to be totally ignored.
Dismissive at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just not there. It's even turning into like a Pepe-esque situation the way he's not using Smith Rowe, and I can't believe it's fitness because I'm pretty sure his fitness has come back.
I think, you know what, we could also use Smith Rowe in that number 10 position. We've seen him play that before.
We could.
And if Martin Odegaard
Yes,
ain't at it,
exactly.
put him in there, bring him on. The substitutions, just like you touched on, for me, they were horrendous. That game just shown us, and even the Liverpool game, to be fair, bringing Kivior on and stuff like that, I didn't quite understand it. This is where his inexperience is kicking in. You get me, as a manager. And maybe I'm hoping that he can grow from this next season and learn from these mistakes. But right now, we're in such a fantastic position to be winning the league after such a long time. Don't make them mistakes. You get me? Have a good long think about it. Be proactive. And you know what? Eric Ten Hag, he's a manager who's proactive. If a player ain't playing well at halftime, he's hooking him. For me, Thomas Partey, take him off at halftime. Let Jorginho come on, because they scored the goal. Even before the goal, they were running through us in midfield. As soon as it's come on, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is not working, make the change. You get me? Don't rest on your laurels too much. You get me? You have to go out there and see what fits the team, right? Now, like you said, the Smith Rowe situation, Reece Nelson could have potentially come on earlier as well. When Reece Nelson has come on, he's made an impact in the game. Taking Gabriel Jesus off makes no sense to me. It makes no sense whatsoever. This guy is returned from injury. He's hungry. He's been scoring goals pretty much every game he's come into now. We need a goal. We're looking for a goal. You're taking all the creativity off. I don't get it. You get me? And I hope he does not make the same mistakes as he did last week against Southampton on Friday. Obviously, we're going to be going to the game together. It's going
Yes.
to be good to finally meet you in the flesh, Harry.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be brilliant. But look, let's touch on that Southampton game now. We're at home. We've not played at home for 2 weeks consecutively now. It's going to be a lift I think the boys are going to need. How do you expect us to set out? Do you want to see some changes throughout the team? Do you want to go with the same 11 that, we put out against West Ham? Or do you want to mix it up a bit?
We need a massive reaction. We need the most clearest batterings over here. And it's not just because it's Southampton, it's for the mentality of the team going into the City game. Do I want to see some changes? Obviously, Zinchenko should be coming back in for Tierney. And my view, we keep it the same as we started. However, those subs need to come on from the 55th minute, 60th minute, if we're drawing 0-0 or having a rather hostile situation at 1-1 or possibly 2-2. What about yourself? I say plus Zinchenko. I'm solid with the team.
Yeah. Do you know what I want to see? I want to see Saka drop to the bench. I want to see Trossard
Whoa,
coming in. Yeah,
for,
definitely
for,
do.
for the start of the Southampton game.
Yeah, I do. And the reason I want that to happen is because I don't want Saka to start becoming complacent in the
Right.
team, thinking, you know what, I can have a few bad performances, but no matter what, my place is safe. I don't want not one player in our team to think their place is safe, even though as fans, we know that there's probably not really the best kind of replacement at times for certain individuals. The moment we start having that mindset, we'll end up falling back into the old way Arsenal used to play football. The great thing is, when we were firing on all cylinders, anyone that was coming on off at the bench, Reece Nelson, Trossard, even Smith Rowe, these are players that can influence the game. Now, Trossard has been outstanding for us since he's come in. I think Gabriel Martinelli has been outstanding in recent weeks as well. I think Jesus has come in and he's been outstanding. I don't want to take them two players off. I would give Saka, I wouldn't say a rest because I don't think he needs a rest. We're playing one game a week, you get me? So I think when people saying he's looking tired and stuff like that, I really don't get it, Harry. You get me? Because you're young, you're fit, you're playing one game a week. I don't expect you to be tired and lethargic. We had a full week. We had a full week before the West Ham game. West Ham were playing midweek, bear in mind. I want to see him dropped. Obviously, I love Saka. I think he's going to be world class. I rate him highly. I'm not saying anything bad towards Saka. But in the aspect of football, I want to see Trossard. I want to see that blend of a Trossard, a Jesus, and a Martinelli. I want to see what that can offer us. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, William Saliba's back and we can wrap him up and throw him straight back into defence just to give us that lift and belief again. Personally, I don't think Saliba's going to come into Man City. That's my God's honest truth. And with Zinchenko, to be fair, have you heard any news on Zinchenko yet? Or
nope,
because I'm thinking. Because Kieran Tierney, for me, I'm not going to lie, I was happy that Kieran Tierney started the last game before the game kicked off because Zinchenko made a costly error against Liverpool. I think he's very good going forward and inverting in midfield. However, defensively, there's questions to be asked about him. I think, again, in that Liverpool game, maybe 10, 15 minutes earlier, we could have brought Kieran Tierney on. The one thing about KT, he gets his body across the ball. We've seen in that West Ham game as well, where he put a last-minute tackle in as well. He's there. He can defend well, but it does give us that. He doesn't give us that attacking option that Zinchenko gives us. So it depends on how he wants to play. You get me?
Listen, Premsy, it's not just the attacking element of Zinchenko. I think it's the vibe that the back four has. And if the back four is missing two of its key elements in Zinchenko and Saliba, as you said, it totally affects Partey. It affects Odegaard's movement. It affects how much Saka can come back. It affects how much Partey can go on forwards. And the thing, what's happened when the Liverpool and the West Ham game is, as soon as things didn't look good, and the confidence level kind of dropped, that level of, ultimate confidence in each other is kind of like demoralized, and the ball play, the build-up play. Have you noticed the build-up play from Ramsdale has been a bit iffy of late, especially from goal kicks, And
yeah, it's a bit shaky, ain't it?
Yeah, it started to become shaky, and we've noticed quite a few kind of like clearances in the situation, starting from a goal kick, and yeah, I think Zinchenko is key. I want to put in KT from 65th minute or the 70th minute. We don't want to repeat that kind of like whole disaster towards the end of the Liverpool game too. But yeah, having 50% of our back four kind of messed up is not good, is it? Yeah.
No, it's definitely not good. And I do hear what you're saying. Playing out from the back without certain players, it does make it a little bit more difficult. But teams like West Ham, really, we should be put into the sword the way we've been playing
Totally. There's no
football this
excuse.
season. There's no
Absolutely
excuses.
no
You know what
excuse.
it is, Harry? We've been so positive this season, and we've rarely had to moan and complain about stuff.
Yeah.
You get me? But I
It
don't
reminds me
care.
of the good old days, doesn't it? The Emery days.
Do you
Fucking
know
hell.
what though, Harry? I don't care. See, with me, yeah, when the team needs credit, they'll get credit. When they need
Yeah.
criticism, they're getting criticism. I'm not one of them to just be sucking up for the sake of it. Like with
Mm.
Arteta, he's got a lot to blame and a lot to take responsibility for that game, especially with the substitutions. The players
Oh.
have a lot to take responsibility. Granit Xhaka, for me, was totally missing in that game. Totally missing. You hardly heard his name. And normally Granit Xhaka is quite influential in the midfield when we're playing. He looked like he should have just been on the bench because I didn't really see anything from Granit Xhaka in that game. I don't know what was your thoughts on Xhaka's performance.
Yes, he was quiet. I don't know. It could have been the Liverpool game taking a toll on him, and he was kind of reserved with the whole situation. But we needed more of his leadership. And of course, Odegaard is the captain. But Granit Xhaka is probably the real captain of the team when it comes to kind of motivating each other. Everybody seemed on the back foot, man. This is the thing. Everybody seemed on the back foot, especially after that first goal went in, and you could kind of smell that West Ham goal coming. So we were very, very lucky to get the penalty, and the reaction after the penalty was just not good enough. Yeah.
Big up people in the chat as well. Please make sure you're
Yep.
smashing a like on the video and subscribing if you're new. Go and check out Harry's channel as well. And Harry on Instagram,
Right,
big Arsenal fan from Japan. Absolutely repping it. You get me on the Asian side of the waters. So
yeah.
make sure you go and check him out as well, people. But look, yeah, there's no more margin for error. No more margin for error. In my mind, Harry, we could afford to draw. This was where my mindset was. Draw against City, draw against Newcastle away, win every other game. We've won the title. Now, there's going to be a few difficult games in there. Chelsea at home ain't going to be easy, even though they're shit. I have a feeling they're going to pull their socks up. I'm telling you, against Real Madrid, they should have really buried a few of them chances. Kante coming back in the team, they're looking a little bit better. But what do you tell me? Do you reckon we'll drop some more points going into the back end of the season now?
I'm more, I'm not really worried about Chelsea. I'm more worried about, the Newcastle game and the Brighton game too, because Brighton just look absolutely electric and mental right now. Woof! Bloody hell. Bloody hell.
What they did to Chelsea was crazy, innit?
Oh
I don't
my
know how they walked
God.
away with just a small scoreline like that.
Oh
20-yard shots,
Lord,
70% possession. Crazy.
Mate, McAllister and Caicedo, and of course my countryman, Mitoma is just ripping it in the Premiership right now. He's a complete professor, that man.
Are you gonna put a word in or what? Yo, we need him at the Arsenal backup. I'd love to take him. I think he's be a quality backup. Definitely, man. He's got a degree in dribbling, I'm hearing.
I think we haven't seen a player like, because he hasn't exactly got like bustling, ridiculous amount of speed. It's all intelligence, and he's always looking at the body balance of his opponent, and he's just going weaving in and out. He's just like a total little musician. Yeah, but I'm sure that wouldn't be happening without the presence of Caicedo and McAllister, and other boys, and that's a great team, absolutely fabulous team. But Southampton, mate. It is Southampton, and as long as we give a convincing performance, with the West Ham game, of course it was a draw, but it's just the manner of the draw that really pissed me off. That we had no reaction after the penalty miss and after their equaliser. So we need a convincing, massive performance, and we need to be able to give it at the Emirates too. The fans need to be behind them. We don't need any kind of holding this and Saka this whatnot. It just needs total movement of absolute support.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely need solidarity, but I think we can't knock the Arsenal fans this season. That's something that we've had in
Mm.
abundance. I think, you know, it's just when you're seeing certain things in certain games, they have to be called out because you got
Yeah,
to understand
I agree.
when you're just letting things slide, it then becomes acceptable. The way we've
Mm.
been performing this season, that is not acceptable. You get me? That's looking like relegation fodder, and I don't like that. That's looking like Tottenham's games. You know what I mean? They're up 2-0 and they're getting coming back on. It makes no sense to me. I expect so
Uh,
much better from these boys. But Harry, look, let's finally. We've got 5 minutes. I just want to
yep.
touch on if we don't win the Premier League this season,
Mm.
is that a failure in your estimation?
At the beginning of the season, we were saying top four. Even the tunes that were coming out about Arsenal were saying, like, we get Champions League. It's a fantastic season. However, the position that we have managed to establish for the first time in 18, 19 years, I wouldn't consider it a complete, utter failure, but it would have its reactions. It would take its toll on the team unless we get a whole set of new players along the summer, mate. A
It'd be
failure.
devastating, wouldn't it?
I would be absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating. I still believe. We have to be realistic, but one game at a time, mate. And if City manages to win every single game left, the 3-point machine, those monsters, you got to take your hats off to them, man.
Mm.
You
No,
have to.
most
But
definitely.
I am so sure. I am so sure that they will give us a slip up somewhere along the lines. It could be Everton away. It could be Brighton too. I'm so sure. They cannot win every single game out there. It's not possible.
You know what? Yeah, look, the man Colombo says it. If Arsenal beat City away and Newcastle away, then we'll win the league. But
Sure.
even though it sounds that simple, look, we can't underestimate anybody in this league. Look, I'm not being funny, but I believe the boys underestimated West Ham a little bit. And this is what happens when teams are
Oh,
fighting for their life. You can drop points very easily to teams that you don't think you're going to drop points to. If you look at what's the name, Bournemouth beating Tottenham 3-2. They scored first. Tottenham scored, equalised. They scored again. Tottenham scored. They scored in the 95th minute.
oh,
These
it
things
was
can happen in
beautiful.
football. It's
It
crazy,
was
isn't it? What's going on?
absolutely juicy how Richarlison scored that goal. It was offside again in the last kick of the game. That was beautiful. Yes.
Do you know what? Yeah, but going back to the failure situation, my standpoint on it is undoubtedly this season we can see the trajectory Arsenal are going on, and we can see that we're going to be there and thereabouts next season,
Mm.
especially with quality added into the summer. I feel like we've improved as a team massively, and I'm happy about that. But being where we have been for 240 odd days consecutively on top of the tree, you get me? In my eyes, it would be a failure losing the title because
Mm.
these games against West Ham, these obviously, even though Brentford at home wasn't our mistake, but these games, Southampton away, realistically, we should be beating these teams, and you
Yep.
have to be nearly perfect to beat Man City to the title. Now, just the sheer fact of how long we've been there and thereabouts, right at the top of the table, it'd be a
Mm.
failure, especially when we've played weakened sides in pretty much every cup competition and then gone out of them cup competitions pretty early. It would be a definite failure because a lot of fans have said blessing in disguise. Arsenal, we're out of every competition. We can
Yep.
focus on the Premier League. City are going to be in this competition, that competition, Premier League race. It's all in our hands. Now, you got to look back to January as well. If we was not to win this, I'm happy with some of the business that we done in regards to
Mm.
Trossard coming in. I wasn't quite happy with Jorginho at the time, but for a short stopgap, he come in and he
Mm.
seems to be doing all right. The issue is Kvyat. Obviously, we couldn't judge that Tomiyasu was going to be out injured as well for
Yep.
pretty much the rest of the season, so I can't understand that. But for me, Rob Holding's always needed replacing anyway. You get me? Bring in a right-sided centre-back who can play right side and left side. It's very difficult for a left-sided centre-back to
Mm.
play right-sided centre-back, and that would give us the adequate cover. I don't think Kvyat is ready enough at all. I don't think he is at the
No.
standard that Arsenal need to be at. It'll be very disappointing, Harry. But do you reckon? Give me your honest opinion. Are we going to do it, or are we not going to do it?
We're up against the wall, mate. But we shall do it, mate. Utmost fucking massive confidence. We shall do it. I'm going to trust him. I'm going to trust him. But Arteta, I'm begging you, please trust the subs. This is the big difference between City and Arsenal. You know, you just cannot rely on plan A and team A. You need to give these lads from the bench a chance, because otherwise, you know, they don't look confident enough to take the game at the neck. You know, these boys, some boys from the subs, you know, look at Vieira, you know, look at Eddie coming on too, you know, they're just not feeling confident, you know.
No, I hear that, man. I'm with you with all of that, bro. I think
Yeah.
we definitely need to show some sort of solidity now. And as a team, they got to grind through. And look, it's in our hands. It's funny as we say it, we win every game. The title is ours. 7 games to go. It's not like we can't do it this season. The team have proved that they can put that kind of run of games together. I'm just looking a little bit. It's looking a little bit difficult. It's like that year 7 kid, like you said, getting pinned up against the wall by the year 11 kid, and his feet kicking. You get me at the moment. That's how I'm feeling right now. But there's still hope. There's still hope he could kick the giant in his nuts. You know what I mean?
That year 7 guy is kicked up against the wall, you know, he can kick the year 11 guy right up the balls, you know.
That's what I was saying. If he gets him in the nuts, that's the only hope that we got. But people, we have come to the end of 30 Mins Arsenal. Harry, big up yourself. I will be seeing you very soon. You get me?
Yes,
we're going to be
mate.
linking
On
up.
a flight from Tokyo to Heathrow in roughly 5 hours time, you know.
Are you excited?
Oh, mate, it's the first time for 5 years in the UK. Of course, I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing the British side of my family too, you know. Because as you know, my dad passed away a year ago. So the whole fam is kind of like joining up from all over the world. I'm really looking forward to it. Quite a few Arsenal fans in there too.
Big reunion then, yeah?
Yes, massive. And the London Marathon too. I'm running that one.
Are you doing that?
Yes, mate.
Oh, your legs are gonna fall off you. Stop it now. Fucking hell, bro. I'm telling you, the amount of marathons that you do is crazy. But now I take my hat off to you. Absolutely do. But again, Harry, peace and love. Brilliant speaking to you every week.
Lovely,
We'll
mate.
catch up on Friday. People, make sure you're smashing a like on this video. I keep saying it. It's so important because it pushes the content out, and we're trying to grow the channel. We can't do it without you. Free of charge. Subscribe as well. But people, peace and love, and we'll see you next week.
Come on, Arsenal. Let's do it, boys.